to the Adrenaline Fueled race of JSR Esports. We are back for more racing action here as well. This is season 10 and expect this one to be better than ever, especially on a brand new game. Brand new opportunities. Let's see what happens here tonight in JSR. After a draw drop of season in season 9, I saw their joke clinch the championship crown in class. The state has been wiped clean, but the pressure, that's only just the beginning, because there's loads of people in here who might have found more time on this game, who might have got more suited towards this game than the last, and those underdogs as well last season or season before, or they were good in F1, they could be up there as well. Depends how much this track suits them, or how much this game suits them. Fireblaze and Robbie Eccles were hot on the heels of their joke last season, but along the way they had an entire grid of determined challengers and now fire up to write their own stories here in the Milestone campaign. And of course, we're here at the Bahrain International Circuit, which used to be the first race of the season until it got taken away by Australia, because Australia was the main race of the season, wasn't it? Until they both switched it around. I think that was because of COVID, because that's why Australia was like 4th or 5th or something like that. So yeah, they switched it around due to the COVID times. But Bahrain was an opener back in 2010 as well, where we saw both Ferraris win on that day with Fernando Alonso and Felipe Massa. High hopes as well, because Alonso won his first race here in the Ferrari in the first race of the season, so I had high expectations from the Spaniard, but unfortunately hasn't came his way. But the Aston Martin and his current team is currently out there so far on the track. VNT, Lewis Jones, that's Ventari as well, so he's on the, I think, the PC side of things as well. Let's see how he does as well, because I've heard about him, but I've not really been around that long enough to see what he's been doing in other league races or anything like that. So maybe social race or PS gel type thing. I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you, but let's see how he manages to do around here as well. I'm pretty sure he'd be a very quick driver as well, being in the Ventari team, which has displayed some brilliant drivers as well. Had the pleasure to commentate a lot of them in the races as well, especially during the social races. But of course, it's a short qualifying, then 18 minutes long, and it should be a 29 lap race around here, set in the desert sands of Sakar. The Bahrain International Circuit delivers drama every time with its long straights, heavy braking zones, and overtaking opportunities as well, especially down towards turn 1, turn 4, and maybe even turn 11 if you fancy one up there. But of course, it's all about raw aggression, time management under nightfall as well, because these tyres do degrade quite quickly as well. So how much do you push in the early stages, how much do you manage, etc. But we're just waiting for the first driver there to start a flying lap around here, and let's see what they have to bring for the table as he makes his way around turn 14, 15 now. Does Lewis Jones as he wants to stop, open up a lap. Very nice Taddy Nixon there. Here we go then, as we now open the DRS on the straight. Speed about 300, I think 25 kilometers an hour, maybe a bit more because of the overtake as well, depends where you want to use it. As we head down in towards the first hit braking zone, very important to get this right as well, because it leads on. So look at that, goes deep into the braking zone, I'm about to say, because it leads on to turn 2 and turn 3 immediately, and he's already outbroke himself there. So what a shame for Lewis Jones there. Compromised his first lap, but he's still going to go for it. Let's stay on board with the Aston Martin as we head down towards the turn 4 we go. Hitting the 100-meter board on the outside there, not taking too much curve on the inside either. Leans on the outside there, use the bank curve on the exit. Heading towards turn 6 and turn 7. Oh, a bit wide on the edge of there as he heads in towards turn 8. So a bit of scruffy lap there for Lewis Jones, but of course, this is his first lap time. Don't expect much in the early stage of qualifying with the track evolution as well. The driver's finding more grip, more confidence as the session goes on as well. So just wait, and Lewis Jones, I'm sure, he just wants to set a banker on the time there to try and get himself a reference to something as well, because sometimes it's always having nice to banker and see where you go wrong on your other laps. As we head down in towards turn 11 we go. We saw Jim Delsey, I think, and Danny Kvyat crash back in 2019, I believe it was. Now coming through turn 12, where a lot of people used to spin in the past, but that doesn't seem like a curb that troubles people anymore. It is easy flat out. Some people even take the curb, including myself, but on the old games where balance was a thing, people really struggle to that corner. They lose their rear end every time. But here we go. It's the last braking zone to go as we slide away in towards 14 and 15 as we get back on the line acceleration once again. This is the first lap time to beat for Lewis Jones. Not quite as clean as he would have wanted it, but of course these are early lap times then, so don't expect much as we see now an Alpine crosses line to go up into Peter as Williams of Tim there, followed by the Alpines right behind, where Pierre Gasly scored a decent result, didn't he, this year at the Bahrain Grand Prix, as Fireblaze pops out Alpine into P2, just behind Lewis Jones there in the Aston Martin. And a few people as well. We've got a lot of people out there on the circuit, but yet to complete a first flying laps. I wonder Have these people made mistakes? I wonder. Let's see where they are right now on the track. We're watching Philip as Kevin Zumberg goes quickest by half a second. There it is then, that time, that difference as well. What a margin. As Sasha Hood puts himself into P2 there in the Ferrari, as Stefan goes up to P5 with a 27.807. Here comes Philip. Where can he put himself amongst the order? We're about to find out right now as he crosses the line. It will be a 27.4 as he reduces the deficit to Kevin Zumberg. But yes, Zumberg then, who is very quick on his day, but we see glimpses of misfortunes now and then, sees glimpses of brilliance, but just can't seem to hook it all together. But when he does, he's an astonishing driver to watch indeed. Gijzen Kaas in the McLaren, who's taken a few wins last season when he was in the Aston Martin himself. Here he is then, as he makes his way down towards the final few corners. We know Gijzen Kaas was a very handy driver in last season's game. Can he be the same thing as well? Has no reason to be if he's not. But here comes Gijzen Kaas towards the line. It's going to be a 27.7, and it's only good enough for P5 then. So what a mega lap time to lay down the formations already, or the foundations, in the first opening stages of qualifying. Mike as well, also in the Mercedes, going for a flying lap. We've got a lot of competitive drivers here as well in Division 1. We've got a lot of people that have got some strengths and weaknesses per se. I know a lot of people might get a bit flustered times on the corner, and that's why they start to lose their tempers. But yes, I know a lot of these drivers that do lose their temper quite a bit when something goes wrong in the race, as Milan Langer goes up to P4 with a 27.64 then, ahead of Lewis Jones by only 800ths of a second there, as Lewis Jones is in a McLaren sandwich. As we go on board still with Mike in the Mercedes then, DRS head up towards turn 11 we go, as he now hits the blackboard on the right hand side. I think that's your reference point. Turn the car in, take as much curb as you can on the inside there. The back of the throttle once again. The car on the left hand side does not disturb us, so no turbulent wake left in his wake. But Mike is 7.0 in the sector. Of course, he hasn't got a reference point just yet. This would be his first lap time on the board as well. So let's see then how Mike does on his first or second lap, because he could have validated the first one or made a mistake, as he probably has to, because it said on this tyre graphic he's only done one lap on these soft compound tyres. So here he is then, Mike towards the line. Is this going to be a good one? Unfortunately not. It's a 29.1, and I don't think that he was pushing very hard either on that lap, was he? So P16 for him for the time being. Misha, Timmy Boy and Hageman are the ones left out there to try and get a lap time on the board then, as we've seen many people before as well get the lap time on the board. But so far it's a mega lap time from Kevin Zumberg up into first place as well. The man that won, I think, one race last season. That was the very first race of the season in USA. But here comes Robbie Jacobs. He's not on a flying lap then, so don't expect to see him improve. But he has been practicing around this track, I know, Robbie Jacobs, especially in time trials. So I wonder if that's paid dividends or not. We'll see as this qualifying session progresses forwards. But of course, qualifying time trial means nothing really, doesn't it? Because it's all about the one lap pace. Obviously qualifying, but you need the balance adjusted to the race and the qualifying as well. Have it in the middle. As Nick crossed the line then in the kickstart, but still in P14, going for his third lap on these soft compound tyres as he powers his way down in towards turn 1. Then heavy on the brakes once again. This is so easy to just mess up here, whether you lock up a rear, snatch the front too much, go out wide. You just be very careful heading down towards turn 1, especially defending and attacking as well, because it's so easy to outbrake yourself through there as well. So find the right braking point, see what you're comfortable with as we head down towards turn 4. How much pace has Mummy Nick found on this game in comparison towards last? Because we know he has been struggling, has Mummy Nick. He's currently a few hundreds down in the first sector, but he was struggling quite a lot as well. He kept going, but at the same time he was really lacking pace. So I wonder if Mummy Nick can find something on this game to bring him back up towards the top, as half qualifying then has already gone by, as we've got 9 minutes and 50 seconds left to go on the clock there. We've got a few more people on the out laps as we watch Mummy Nick then with the Mercedes in the way, but thankfully gets out of it at the very last second then, as Mummy Nick progresses down in towards turn number 11, I think it is, now coming through turn 12. Let's see his second intermediate split. Let's have a look right now. There's a caution somewhere in the first sector, as Mummy Nick then is down by half a tenth of a second then, so this is not going to improve unless he can find some major improvement in these final two corners. We're about to find out right now, see how much time Nick can gain as we heading towards the final corner. We go, rise the curves very nicely, gets back to the throttle there, no signs of wheel spin. Mummy Nick makes his way towards the line now. What's it going to be for the kick Sauber? The kick Sauber goes behind his teammates of the Belgian driver Champ there in P11 then. So we've got heavy hitters there on the circuit, including Lewis Jones, who's currently a 10th up in the first set already, but remember, he did outbreak himself going down in towards turn 1, so he's made up some of that time lost already headed down in towards turn 1. But get the braking hopefully for his sake right this time as we exit turn 8, a bit of overtake there as well as the Boucher at the corner, headed towards turn 9 and turn 10. Clumsy little corner because you want to brake and turn at the same time without obviously locking the rears up or locking the fronts up, but you can have one nice sweep of the steering wheel here. You can't have many corrections or you can't break yourself because it's very important that corner to set yourself up on towards this third DRS straight as we make our way now up towards turn 12. Let's see what the intermediate split is for Lewis Jones as it's looking at 0.4 of a second, but still needs to find a bit more time in the last sector if he wants any chance against Kevin Zumberg. Main competitors are out on the circuit, including Kevin and Heighton Cass are on our laps. Lewis Jones, we're watching in the Aston Martin heading towards the final corner. He did improve by 0.3 of a second. Did he find more time in the last sector? The answer is oh, it's so close. He did find time, but 300s away from Kevin Zumberg there. That's super fine margins as Lewis found a bit more time in that last sector there as well as he was able to get it closer towards Kevin. Kevin, however, that first lap was blistering. Now he's came out on the circuit knowing his chances of pole are in jeopardy, so he's going to do something about it right now as he crossed the line in the Aston Martin on board with Philip then as he makes his way down in towards turn 11 we go as majority of drivers then on their flying laps. We've got Misha, who is still not on a flying lap there in the Red Bull, so hopefully he can find some pace there. But Philip is 0.3 up. This could put him on a par with Kevin, maybe beat him as well. It all depends though how good your final corner is now, because all the hard work can be undone at this particular corner. It's such a clumsy little corner, this one. It's so easy to mess up, especially on the exit there in Dirty Air 2, as we saw Alex Albon crash there and Jack Aiken as well. Here comes Philip towards the line. It's going to be a 27.2, and he did lose time in that last sector there. Didn't really see, or was it anything obvious from Philip that he lost time, but he did for some reason. I'm still not quite sure what that was, but unfortunately he's still in P3 as Fablaze or Robbie Jacobs goes up into P11 in the Alpine. As we see Stefan in the Ferrari goes up into P9. Pops his Ferrari inside the top 10 for the time being then. He's the only Ferrari driver here as well because his teammate sadly hasn't turned up, so he's the only one who hasn't got his teammate. But Heighton Cass is down by 0.3 of a second. They're really wrestling with the car as well, trying to get the car turned in, but I think he's going to bail on this lap and go in towards the pit lane, considering he hasn't got much fuel left in the tank either. So it's the pit lane. He comes there. Where is Ben Joker? I haven't really spoken about him. I don't think he's here tonight. No, the 7-time champion, if I'm looking correctly, is not here tonight. So Ben Joker, who won last season's champion by taking a few wins as well, made a championship, 7-time world champion. But we know what happens to 7-time world champions. They don't win an 8th in terms of F1. Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton, maybe Lewis Hamilton, who knows, but it's highly unlikely. But Sasha Hood is coming towards the final few corners then. Is he about to start a flying lap? I'm not quite sure. No, he's not, because he's running low on fuel there. So these guys then completing their second runs on these sets of the soft compound tyres. So currently it's an Aston Martin 1-2, both in close proximity of each other then, with Philip just further back in P3 as he heads off into the pit lane then to put on his last potential set of the soft compound tyres as somebody flies past us on the pit wall there. On board with AMS Eric as well, who's also shown some promising pace as well, and that race in Silverstone, definitely remember that one clear memory as well, because that was such a fantastic race for him. But Eric, yeah, he's down in the middle sector then, so not on a flying lap, obviously. But yes, Eric on his day can be super quick as well. It's all about trying to piece it all together. As Mike in the Mercedes in P12, 1.1 seconds away, not really a place you usually see Mike down there, be P12, but he's clearly struggling for something. I'm not quite sure what it is out there. Maybe it's the track or the car setup, who knows? Or maybe he's not prepared for this track, as Robbie Jacobs then has invalidated as he will head back off into the pit lane then. Kenji, however, 0.2 up in the first sector as he makes his way now towards turn 9 and turn 10 we go. Gets a bit squirrely on the exit of turn 10 as he tried to get the throttle with brakes, trying to break traction, but unfortunately didn't, as now he heads down in towards 11 we go. It's a nice nice swoop in there. You don't really want to touch the curb on the outside because it just drags you off the track and set the car the balance as well. Here he is towards the end of the sector, still 2 tenths up, and this should put him around P14, P15, depending how much time he can find in towards this last sector, which is basically a back straight, then a heavy braking zone in towards 14 and 15 we go. Here we are then, as we make our way towards the final corner. Let's see what Kenji could do. Unfortunately, massive oversteer there as he counter-locked it, and Kenji crossed the line to go up a stay. In P15 he goes then, so still found time despite those little errors, and there's plenty of more time left behind as well as Mike makes his way back in the pit lane, because we just saw him complete a flying lap not too long ago. But Lewis Jones then has came out relatively early in every single run plan so far, so that's quite interesting as well, because usually when people go out quite early, it means that they've got, if just in case they have had a day or make a mistake on there. Oh, Lewis there just spinning the rear end of the car in towards 11 on his outlap as well, or yeah, outlap, sorry. So, oh yes, what a shame there for Lewis Jones, who already cooked up his tyres before he started then, so hopefully his tyres hasn't taken a beating too much with the flat spots he sustained on that car. But it's definitely a way of warming up his tyres. Well, how much time has that cost him? Here he is towards the final corner we go, and this is Lewis Jones starting his flying lap relatively early to everybody else, but that's some people's game plan. They like to come out earlier just in case they made that first mistake on the lap or invalidate or something happens, then they've always got the second to do so. Like me, that was always my tactic as well. Go out pretty early, as we see Lewis in towards turn 1 there. The car just bogged down for a few seconds there, but he validates on the exit of turn 2, and massive wheel spin there unfortunately, as Lewis Jones then will have to back out, and he is not happy. Hopefully he's got the fuel in the car. You can clearly tell that Lewis Jones is, why are you driving backwards for? Come on, Lewis. Oh my goodness me. Can't let your feelings get towards you, unfortunately. And yeah, he has been disqualified. He wants to start down in last place, and there it is then. He will start down in last then. So it's either pole or nothing for Lewis Jones there, as our main competitors are out on the circuit so far here in Sakhir. So let's see, can anybody take pole away from Kevin Zumberg? By the way, Kevin Zumberg, his first lap was his best lap. That indicates how much pace he's got as well, to able to keep in front of the guys who've gone for more than 1 or 2 attempts on their new set of the soft compound tyres. But I cannot wait to see what happens towards the end of the qualifying here. Kevin usually has some good pace. Around his 5.43 mile circuit. First raced here in 2004. Then became the first night race in 2014 when we saw that duo between Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. What a duo as well, as Pastor Maldonado flipped over Gutierrez in towards turn number 1, and that caused a safety car, and both Mercedes were put on different strategies. Perez as well got an unexpected podium as well to finish in P3 for his first year in Force India. Here comes Khattakas towards the final few corners we go on this racetrack. Let's see what the Dutchman can do on his lap time. Robbie Jacobs is just further the road, so he has to stay on board with him. Why not? So thread the needle in turn 2 and turn 3. Just be patient on the throttle there, as you don't want to flourish straight away because you'll lose traction. And now heading towards turn 4. Open up the corner as much as you can. Doesn't really use the full extremities of the racetrack, but still hooks up very nicely there, kissing the apex. Does Robbie Jacobs, as now he is 700s down in the first sector. So it seems to me like a decent first lap, or decent first sector it must be said, but the delta showing otherwise there. So he's down, but can he find the time in the middle or last sector? Robbie Jacobs there, let's see what he could do as he makes his way down in towards the double left-hander turn under turn 10. And sometimes the game can be deceiving because it might not be him who locked up, it's just the game visuals itself which they haven't sorted out. It's with the tyre smoke as well, so that's quite surprising. But yes, Robbie Jacobs then, he was picked up multiple podiums last season, and unfortunately for him, did not pick up a win either. He was super close to, but just missed out, as him and Fireblaze tied points in the championship last season. But look at Robbie Jacobs, he is flying in the sector by 0.2 of a second there, but won't be enough to try and beat the top 3's time. I dare say they're safe from Robbie Jacobs, but you never know. As we make our way towards the final corner, this is the dying stages of qualifying. Qualifying has ended. This is the final runs. Here comes Robbie, it's one of them to cross the line. He goes up into P4, that's a 27.4, so he did find time in the last sector, surprisingly. Kevin Zumberg, however, Kevin, oh my goodness me, he is up almost by 3. Oh, gets unscrewed in the exit there, massive wobble on, and let's see, can he improve his time still as he crosses the line right now? He can! It's a 26.4 .961, despite that little hiccup in towards the final corner. Still had mighty time and the rest of the guys behind to keep it on pole and extend his margin by more. And Ryan Banink is coming towards the final corner, but he's not on a flying lap. He's just invalidated. Sasha Hood is down in the first sector. Misha, however, coming towards the end of the middle sector. Let's see what he can do in the Red Bull 9000s down in the first middle sector. And also we've got a lot of people then cross the line to finish their lap. Is anybody going to surprise us? Eric in 13th place. I think he's up there in the road. Yes, he is. Let's see what Eric can do. Can he get himself inside the top 10? The answer is nope, not for the time being then. Maybe. Where is he right now? As he crosses the line, he goes up into P3, does Misha, but Eric only goes up into P12 as Milan Langer goes up into P3 in the McLaren, and he was the chaser last season, wasn't he? But so far, it's a P3 separated by 5 thousandths of a second between Kevin Zumberg, Ryan Benink, and also Milan Langer. There are your classifications, ladies and gentlemen. It is Kevin Zumberg on pole from the Belgian driver, as Philip is a Dutch driver. Sorry, Philip is in P2. Ryan Benink as Milan Langer qualified third. Mega result for him ahead of Misha, Sasha Hood, Robbie Jacobs, Geitenkas, Timmy Boy, Stefan, Fireblaze, Mike, Eric, Champ, Mummy Nick, Tupe, Kenji, Tim, Hagerman, and Lewis Jones, who has been disqualified from the session. Was that intentional? Did he want to start the back? But I'm not quite sure. We're about to find out then. What can he do from the back of the field? Bahrain's not been too much of a bad track really to overtake, as we've got 3 DRS zones. I know last year, or this year, sorry, Bahrain Grand Prix wasn't super spectacular because of the temperatures soaring around here. It's just so difficult to overtake as well. But we have seen some decent races as well here in the past between Leclerc and Verstappen back in 2022 as well. Fernando Alonso making his way for third as well in 2023. Sebastian Vettel doing a one-stop strategy because teammate Raikkonen got released at the pit lane too early and took out mechanic's left leg. 2017 as well, with Vettel won. 2017 and 18, yeah, Vettel won. Hamilton got a penalty for impeding Ricciardo in the pit lane. Then 2016, of course, Nico Rosberg went on to take the victory ahead of Lewis Hamilton. And 2015 was Hamilton. 2014 was the duel in the desert. Then 2013 was the last time we saw the day as well on the Bahrain Grand Prix, when Sebastian Vettel took a fantastic victory in the Red Bull, even though it's not Red Bull's strongest tracks in the is now, but wasn't back then, as both Lotuses, I remember, finishing in P2 and P3. They always go well around here. Do the Lotus, boys. There is no formation lap. We're about to get racing immediately soon, and the lights are away for the first race of the season here in Bahrain. It looks like Phil's got a better start than Kevin as we dive in towards turn 1. He's taking the lead immediately as we head in towards turn 1. On the brakes we go. Alpine sandwiched in the middle of McLaren and Red Bull. Oh, look at that. Williams is up into P1, but there's contact and he's in a spin already. Ryan Benink is in a spin, and despite going up to first place, he's been dropped all the way down into last place, as now Milan Langer has capitalised from that as well. We see the Alpine and the Ferrari go side by side out of turn 4, heading towards 5 and 6 we go. And let's see, the Mercedes now puts the pressure on Stefan as we go side by side in towards the squad. But a few people got out wide. The dirty air maybe affected them so far, but there's a Ferrari off in the background. As tall is Stefan. Stefan is off, unfortunately, down towards turn 8 when Lewis Hamilton crashed back in 2008. But yes, he's unfortunately rejoined in 19th place. But what a shame so far for Ryan Benink down in P18. What on earth happened there between those two? It happened so quickly. I might have to rewatch the stream back to see what happened there. But all these guys, they're jostling for position, as you expect, on the first opening laps of the Grand Prix. Lewis Jones up into P9 already in the Aston Martin there. Wow, what a comeback drive it was. Let's look at that, 10 places gained on the first lap. Mega drive so far from Lewis Jones. But let's see the tyre strategies then. Majority on the medium compound tyre, and some of them have gone for the hard compound tyre. Kenji, the outlier in the midfield there on the soft compound tyres. Don't expect them to last much either, as they'll be chewed up very quickly out here as well in Bahrain, I'm sure of it. But anyways, here we go. DRS will be enabled, and you know what happens with DRS? We see some good moves as well, heading from turn 1 all the way to turn 4, because you can continue a battle all the way out of turn 1 in towards turn 4. We've got Mercedes and RP side by side as we head down in towards turn 1. On board with the Aston Martin's perspective, see what happens in front of them. Can he keep it nice and tidy? Wheel banging on the exit there, turn 2 and turn 3, but nonetheless, they both make it out unscathed. But here comes Fireblade back on Mike when he want to go for the move. This early in the Grand Prix, he will. Around the outside, he goes in towards turn 4. Barely in his space, given just enough space there between the two of them to stay on the track. As now we go side by side in towards 6 and 7. Will one of them drift out wide? No. And nicely done there, but here comes Mike down the inside in towards turn, and the contact, and will Lewis Jones go through? The answer is no, not close enough to go through, but there's big contact. I'm surprised why these two fighters so hard. You need to stay in the DRS train, and now he's under pressure from Lewis. He tries to sneak up the inside in towards turn 10. Massive wheels, but as you can see there, Milan Langer struggling to keep in the second there of Kevin Zumberg, keeping on the gap in front of us as well to make sure what's happening. But here comes Lewis Jones as he puts his Aston Martin into P7 there, but that has cost him big time as Sasha Hood has left the session. Yeah, that moment there unfortunately has cost Fireblaze and Mike just scrapping amongst themselves, and therefore they've lost the DRS towards the top 5. Then they should have ended their battle before turn 4 really, but they both decided to go for it, and it may be have a hinder on their race too, not able to get back in DRS range. That's what happened to those guys in front. But Timmy Boy actually is struggling to stay in DRS range of Robbie Jacobs in front of him as well, so Timmy Boy might be under pressure from Fireblaze soon. Here comes the Aston Martin as he puts himself into P6. 3 laps in the Grand Prix, started in last, he's up into P6. I would love to see his first lap perspective because he must have dodged a lot of cars in towards the first few corners. But Sasha Hood has left the session. Ryan Benink is in the pit lane as Milan Langer takes the lead of the Grand Prix in towards turn 4 we go. Oh, just before Milan takes the lead, we can see he's quite low on the battery as well. They both are, so I wonder if Kevin tried to gut it out of the DRS range as much as he can, use the battery, but now has to try and save some back as well. We've got Misha right behind, hanging in there on the hardcore power tyres as well, showing some decent pace, while Timmy Boy is just struggling to keep in DRS range with Robbie Jacobs because Lewis Jones is now caught up to the back of Timmy Boy, and Lewis Jones will fancy his opportunity to get past the Racing Bull driver as quickly as he can then to try and catch up towards the top 5, because he's definitely got the pace to do so. It all depends on how quickly can he dispatch the guy ahead of him, which should be easy considering Timmy Boy does not have the DRS. So now it's Milan Langer who will lead in the JSR Grand Prix for the first race of the season, but of course we've still got a long way to go in this Grand Prix, so anything could happen in towards this Grand Prix here. But Milan, you know, he's got some mighty pace. We know he's finished runner-up before in the championships as well. His last win came at the Monza Grand Prix in Italy, sorry. Yeah, Milan Langer's showing some decent pace so far. He's got Kevin right behind there with the DRS wide open on the Aston Martin driver. Here we go then, they're both derating as Kevin Zumberg. Would he go past or would he stay behind? As he goes past then, as we head down in towards turn 1, as Misha right behind us as well. Look, see what he can do from back there as Lewis Jones is up to P5 as Torpe gets ahead of Eric as we head down in towards the first corners we go. And looks like we've got to kick Saba, Mummy Nick tries to defend there from the Alpine Tim as Mike gets a 3 second time penalty. He's running down in P8 behind Fireblaze, his old teammates from different leagues. But as we head down in towards turn 4 we go then. This is a fantastic track to watch drivers go side by side. We've seen plenty of occasions before where we've seen wheel-to-wheel action in league racing, and also F1 itself. It's just such a good combination of corners out of turn 1 towards turn 4. Gives you more variety, gives you more options on the tables as well to see when you can get the DRS and overtake done in towards 1. As we see the Alpine of Robbie Jacobs then taking an excursion off the track there, but hopefully for his sake he hasn't picked up a warning anytime shortly too on those midi-compound tyres, showing some stunning pace. And also he has dropped Timmy Boy out of his own DRS range, just more left Fireblaze to dispatch him, so Fireblaze would want to progress up the order. If he can, try and stick with Lewis Jones, because it seems like Lewis Jones got the decent pace to try and keep it with the top 4 despite starting in last place there. But here we go then, towards the final corner we go. It's Kevin Zumberg who leads ahead of Milan, Misha in P3 with Robbie Jacobs in 4th. Lewis Jones hot on the heels now of this top 4 battle in front of him. He's caught up. Fireblaze in the background needs to overtake Timmy Boy because he seems like he's losing pace on these mini compound tyres already, as Milan Langer takes the lead of the Grand Prix as we head down in towards the heavy breaker zone, in towards turn 1. But of course Kevin Zumberg will get another dose of DRS. I'm pretty sure these two are just controlling their own race as well, swapping and changing, making sure to keep the guys behind as well, because sometimes DRS can be used as a defense mechanism against the guy behind as well, stopping you from overtaking at the same time. So Fireblaze did clear Timmy Boy. He's up into P6 now. The gap is 1.5 seconds. I wonder, with this clean air he has right now, can he utilise that and try and get himself inside that wall security DRS? Because those guys ahead of us might be starting to get the impact of the dirty air, as Sasha Hood has joined about the session. What a shame for him as well down there. Started up into P5, had a decent qualifying, but unfortunately just dropped down the order. And also that contact down towards turn 1 as well. We didn't quite see what happened because it happened so quickly. So I might have to go back to lap 1 to tell you what's happened between some of these drivers here. But Misha, interesting though, on the hardcore power tyres, even in the early stages, shows how good the hardcore power tyre is. There's not really much of a difference between the hards and mediums, but obviously in terms of durability, they last much harder, longer. But let me just have a look of that lap 1 collision, because it's still unclear to me what happened there. Apologies, I will try and keep up with the action as I try and describe to you what happened on the first lap for Ryan down there in P15 as he was up there taking the lead. But here comes Kevin Zumberg who takes the lead, and behind us is his Aston Martin teammate nipping at the heels there, and he's up into P4 there. So the chase is well and truly on, as we can see. Timmy Boy overtakes Torpay. Fireblaze and Timmy Boy go side by side out of the corner as Fireblaze has the DRS and gets ahead of it. Look at that in the background. There's a three-way scrap going on there between Eric, Tim and Heighton Cass. If we can find it, there we go. Here we go, 2x2 in towards turn 4. Let's see if they keep it nice and clean there, and let's see who has the advantage, who will get squeezed out. It seems like it's good races so far between all these 4 of them, but it is Heighton Cass gets ahead of Eric around the outside there. Up into P11 he goes. I'm surprised as well these guys are quite so far behind as well, because you usually expect these type of guys to be up there, as we've seen in the F124 game, but I'm not quite sure. So on the first lap, it looks like a Mercedes was up the inside of somebody, and I can't quite tell who it was. Was it Mercedes or was it Milan? Let's have a look, shall we? It's a Ferrari actually. So Ferrari of Sasha Hood and Ryan Benning made contact as well. Sasha Hood must have had a really good start from 4th place to go all the way around the outside, because he was up into 2nd in turn 2, but then all the hard work was done when him and Ryan Benning spun down. And I'm pretty sure as well that there could be interesting few words after the Grand Prix between those 2 of them, because it's cost him big time, especially Philip, who took the lead of the Grand Prix but lost it immediately with 3 corners in, like Mazepin did as well in 2021 when he crashed out. But here comes Milan, then back on Kevin. It's just a classic switcheroo of the DRS there for 1st and 2nd, trying to maintain and control this race as well, try and keep the rest of the guys behind and put yourself in the best possible spot later on in the Grand Prix. It's a high-speed game of chess as well, just trying to calculate all your moves as we head down in towards turn 1 we go. Torpay versus Heighton Cass there, and also Timothy as well, as Torpay seems to win on that battle against the McLaren driver and the Alpine, but the DRS has been enabled there for McLaren as he jolts to the left and right as we head up towards turn 4. Just get the boost stick, and the Williams might come through, but he gets boxed in there. Didn't have the best exit as he would have wanted, otherwise he could have got both of them, but he's got one of them and he's up into P10. Robbie Jacobs there in P5 as McLaren, Red Bull, or Racing Bull, sorry, has retired in the pit lane. So that's him done for the day, or night, shall I say. But Robbie Jacobs has lost the DRS towards Lewis Jones then, so maybe his tyre management hasn't been key. And I noticed that as well with Robbie's tyres as well when they get older. He just can't seem to stick in the pace of the guys ahead as well. So maybe lacking a bit of race setup there, maybe lacking a bit of race intelligence or front of us. Or durability, that must be said on the tyres. Not able to look after them, keep them under the control window as well, because it's so easy to slide around on these big compound tyres that overheat so much, and it's really hard to reduce that carcass temperature. As we've got the Red Bull, then there's a caution in towards turn 1, but of course that's the Red Bull parked up as we've got Kevin now side by side, as here comes the Aston Martin on the inside in towards turn 1. This is Misha versus Lewis Jones. Kevin goes a bit deep in the breaker zone as we've got Lewis around the outside, but there's still wheel to wheel out on turn 3 as they both should have the DRS on the back of the 2 ahead of us. As we head down towards turn 4, Lewis Jones has got the move done. So started last, it wasn't bad after all, and he's benefited from a lot. But of course both Aston Martins there on the same mini compound tyres, so which one of them have probably to pit first, unless one of them, like Lewis Jones, for example, wants to do the undercut. But it's been quite a massive gap now. The top four have been left alone to fight out for the lead of the Grand Prix. There's the two Alpines in the background. That's Robbie Jacobs, Fireblaze, and Timmy Boy. They've been detached from this DRS train, and Robbie Jacobs keeps losing time. I'm surprised by that, you know, because it is quite easy. Well, if you're doing DRS, though, you expect it to be easier to stay in DRS. But of course, dirtier is a factor as well. I wonder if Robbie's been struggling as well in terms of just general race pace, and that's why he's dropped all the way back. We did see him making a few mistakes out of turn 11 there as well. And now Fireblaze, his teammate, is right behind him for good measure, as we know on lap 8 out of 29. When are these guys on the mini-compound tyres started to think about the first round of pit stops? Not Misha, because he's going to go for a very long stint on the hard compound tyres and try and get the best mediums towards the end and hope his alternate strategy works that way. No safety cars has been thrown into the mix either, so this would be a good time for those people in the mini-compound tyres to pit and change them to the hards. But here comes the Alpine as he pits now, as Milan Langer retakes the lead of the Grand Prix. It's now Aston Martin versus the McLaren of Milan. Milan's going to be under so much pressure from the guys behind as well. I wonder how he can cope with it, with the two Aston Martin boys hot on his heels. But the Dutchman, very good commentator, a very nice guy, a very good league racer as well, should have plenty of experience how to try and control the Grand Prix. But so far, Milan Langer is doing a very good job. Do you know what? It doesn't seem right, me commentator over him every time he's in the box with me. I mean, it doesn't seem right. It just feels strange to say that Milan is out on the track because he's always in the commentary box with me. But of course, it's really nice to see Milan doing well so far. Great driver, great commentator, and a great guy in a general. As we make our way out of the final, well, out of turn under turn 10, that heavy braking zone, we have to turn in and brake at the same time. Be very careful as well not to overdo it off the track. Oh, talk about overdoing it off the track. That's the racing ball in the background. Timmy lost traction. I don't think he lost it at the braking. He just lost traction by himself and almost went into the wall. Maybe he did, as Mummy Nick gets a 3-second time to there. But Timmy Boy's lost a bit of time towards Fireblaze. I wonder if these mediums starting to get the ghost right now. And that could be bad news. Well, bad news for Misha because he'd be hoping his mini compound tyres last longer. But who is just going for a spin up there in turn 4? Is it Kenji? Yeah, it is Kenji. He's gone for a spin where Sebastian Vettel went for a spin back in 2018. That lost his whole front wing as well for good measure, but none of these guys think about a pit stop just yet. And now Lewis Jones is, so he was behind in the DRS train. Here comes Kevin for the lead of the Grand Prix. I wonder if this is the time now for these two to respond to the undercut threats from Lewis Jones, who's shown some blistering pace out in front so far. Where does he rejoin? That's the key question. We can see a whole gaggle of cars on the pit straight, so he might rejoin behind a few of them. Might get a clean gap in between a few drivers, not to get stuck behind them, of course. But Kenji seems to be struggling out there in the Mercedes as he goes for multiple spins and excursions off the road. But we can see that, where is he? Lewis Jones has rejoined down in P13 then. 1.1 seconds away. I'm trying to find my bearings. There we go. 1.1 seconds away from Champ, who's putting pressure on Sasha Hood in front of him. So ideally he wants to dispatch those two as quickly as he can, so we just get hold up behind those two and lose the time there, because he's looking to the undercut, which means get in your pit lane before the rival does, get on a new set of boots, do the 1 or 2 laps to try and get them when they come to the pit lane to make sure they're behind you. The overcut's the opposite way around, where you stay out later, get in the pits and do the overcut, basically get ahead of the guy ahead of you. It's not really Red Bull there. That was Misha who lost traction at the exit of turn, well, on the straight really. That's a very odd place to lose it indeed, so I'm not quite sure how he did it, as Kenji has retired in the pit lane, so no longer seen from him for the time being. But that's quite strange there from Misha. Just lost it all of a sudden, so not quite sure. But Philip has spun. Oh no, he's got a puncher! Philip, Ryan Benink has got a puncher, unfortunately. That's Nala Paul beating compound tyres, and that tells you how big grading is on this game. Get a puncher as well. 10 laps is towards the Grand Prix. That could be signs that other people have to pit. Timmy Boy is in the pit lane too, but these guys are staying out there. How much time are they going to lose, or how much time? Well, how is it going to get a puncher? That's the question, though. Are they going to get a puncher? Because Ryan's done 9 laps with his mini compound tyres there, and he got a puncher halfway through the lap as well. So big trip to the pits back. Look at that. He's really struggling there. No grip whatsoever. It is so horrible getting a puncher on this F1 game, as Stefan gets ahead of Torpay. But I wonder, oh, the yellow flag's down there. What's going on? There was a yellow flag down in this sector somewhere, but I'm not quite sure who it was or why it was there. But the caution's gone. We could presume racing once again. Another yellow flag down there as well. That seems to be the... Oh, it's the Alpine Williams going slowly on the back straight. But surely This is the time for those people to pit on the hardcore power tyres. Can't really risk it anymore. We did see Ryan though go for a spin on lap 1, so it indicates why he could have got that punch early by lighting up his rear tyres. The mini compound tyres, of course, is a fragile tyre as we head in towards turn 13 then. Look at the grain, you can see it's more noticeable on this game as well. The left front of the tyre doesn't look pretty at all. Neither does any part of the tyres really. So you can see the grain as well, how much they've chewed up around on this mini compound tyre. So let's see then, will the top two go into the pits this lap? We're about to find out right now. No, interestingly, they're staying out. They are staying out, so that's quite surprising, you know. Are they looking to try and do the much better offset tyres, have the better grip towards the edge, try and hunt down Lewis Jones? That's what offset means as well, have a few laps in hand, the better grip towards the end of the Grand Prix to try and get your rivals. Fireblaze has pitted as well from 4th place to go on the hardcore powered tyres. He was fighting his teammate Robbie Jacobs down there in P11 as well, but what a shame for Philip as well, or Ryan Benink, who took the lead in towards turn 1, short-lived by a few seconds, then he sustained a puncher. But Fireblaze ready to rejoin, right behind a whole gaggle of cars. But should he get ahead of the AlphaTauri? Let's have a look right now. He does get ahead of the Racing Bull driver, so very important for his race as well, as he's looking to try and score a potential top 5 finish. But of course, Khatikas, Stefan, Misha on the hardcore powered tyres, Eric, Sasha Hood, Champ are the only ones not to pit, as you expect, to go longer on the hardcore powered tyres, because pitting now won't do it any favours as Robbie Jacobs goes through the corner. He's up into P8 there. Lewis Jones is right there in the foreground, putting pressure on Stefan. It's very important for him now not to lose any time behind the Ferrari driver. Just bide your time, don't make any silly mistakes getting past somebody on other tyres, because it can be so tempting to brake later, as Kevin Zumberg gets a second time penalty in this Grand Prix. That's one of the heavy hitters in this race, and what a huge blunder now towards his Grand Prix. Kevin has picked up a penalty, and we saw what happened as well in the last few races in different leagues. But look at this, look at that tyre difference between old and new tyre type shit there between those two. Lewis Jones just being patient, as we've got Milan and Langer in the pit lane as well, and they're taking their tyres 12 laps. And let's see then, has Stin up there, gave a bit of insurance, I wonder. Here we go in the background, that's the Aston Martin going through on the Ferrari, but of course on different age of tyres there. That's Stefan being overtaken by Lewis Jones as these two trundle on the pit lane. Oh my goodness me, look at the traffic they're going to get themselves involved as well. So huge traffic in towards turn number 1. They're not really ideal as we head down towards turn 1. It could have been like Carlos Sainz and Lawrence Stroll type shit moment there in towards turn 1, where Carlos Sainz went straight into the side of Lawrence Stroll in 2017 when he came at the pit lane there, but not any drama so far as we head down in towards turn 4. Also remember as well, I think Gutierrez came to the pit lane in towards turn 1. Pastor Maldonado came out of the pit lane in towards turn 1, and he collected Esteban Gutierrez, sent him airborne as well. As Milan looking to get past Eric, he knows his. Oh, look at that massive overspeed. You can see that massive counterbalance there. Or shall I say wheel spin? There we go, trying to get the words out as we head down towards turn 9 and turn 10 we go in the breaker zone. But surely now, it should be a bit easy with the DRS wide open. Eric's defenceless, has nothing to respond with, as Milan and Langer should simply walk past and go up into P6. But was like contact there? No, just a bit of lag between those two. So thankfully no major contacts. But as you can see, Kevin Zumberg has been dropped a little bit into P9. So can Milan pull away from Kevin and break him out of DRS range? But there he is in the Aston Martin then. He'll be looking to try and pounce on these two at any given moment as the Ferrari gets out squirrely with the exit of turn 13. But what is the best strategy as somebody has fallen down the orders? Mummy Nick in towards 11. But no major dramas for the time being then as the race continues as it is. Lewis Jones sets the fast lap to Grand Prix with a 30.622. But yes, Kevin Zumberg now needs to overtake as Eric's going to quite defensive on the inside there. Old tyres versus new, you don't expect that. But as we head down towards turn 1 we go. Eric's surely not going to go back down the inside, is he? It's towards turn 1, unless, of course, it helps his teammate Misha out. That could be why he's doing this, well, try and prevent Kevin Zumberg, or try and delay the inevitable of him getting past. But he's now up into P7, and not too far behind Milan either. You can see him in the foreground, putting pressure on the Dutchman once again. Was that a mistake from the Red Bull of Eric there? I thought it was. I thought it was a bit of leg spike there, but he just went out wide. So Misha then leads the Grand Prix by 14 seconds ahead of Khatikas. We know he's doing the also strategy from the hards to the mediums then. The mediums peak performance about 12-13 laps, so he needs to stay a bit longer than that if he wants to try and make those mediums go towards the end of their peak performance as well. When the peak performance drops, it goes completely But these guys, the first stint, managed it well. Then it's Misha's turn to go on the mini compound tyres and see what degradation he has to suffer with. As Ryan Benank unfortunately retires in the pit lane, and that's him done. Down towards turn 1, his race got ended by, was it Ferrari down the inside? I think it was Ferrari down the inside. The Sasha Hood, yes, they both got spun out in towards turn 4, turn 3. So what a shame for Ryan there. Picked up a puncher, got spun out of turn 1, but hopefully he can come back next race because he's got some definitely got some good pace. So hopefully keep his head high. It is the first race of the season, but of course you don't want to start the season off like this. As Hattikas has been overtaken by Lewis Jones as he puts himself into P2. What are these strats? I'm so confused, says Ivan. We're about to find out though. Let's look at this. Lewis Jones on the inside towards turn 1, but gets ahead as Kevin Zumberg in the background goes up into P6. So Milan and Kevin pitted quite later, and they got 3-lap difference between himself and Lewis Jones's tyres. There's Lewis Jones way up the road, so I don't think that Kevin Zumberg and Milan are going to catch Lewis Jones. I think Lewis is in a world of his own so far in P2 after him getting disqualified in qualifying. After he went backwards on purpose. In the background of Sasha Hood, Fireblaze and Mike there caught up in a scrap, and Sasha Hood depends on Fireblaze actually as he's trying to put the pressure on as we head down. Oh, this Ferrari's almost spun the car as here comes Fireblaze once again. He puts himself into P9, super close there, but of course Sasha Hood's tyres are quite old, so therefore doesn't have the balance and the grip either. Lewis Jones is 12.5 seconds away, but I wonder with Misha's strategy, is the hard, the medium's better way on this track? I wonder, will the medium start to give way later on the Grand Prix? Because sometimes taking the mini compound tyres is the best way, is the best option. Get them out of the way in the first stint, then run the lovely hard compound tyres towards the end of the Grand Prix. Unless of course there's different tracks like Silverstone or Zandvoort, is it, where you might see the softer medium strategy. I'm quite sure. Haven't really delved into that race strategy yet, but here comes Lewis Jones then. The gap is 11.11, so taking more time out of Misha's time, as a safety car would be doable right now. Hopefully that's not Eric doing that, is it? Nope, he spun in towards the back straight, so that's quite an odd place to spin. Did he make contact with somebody? I'm not quite sure, but here comes Kevin on Stefan as he puts the Aston Martin now up into P5, trying to negotiate his way around people on older tyres. They're trying to get a podium at least, but it might be a bit difficult with Misha on a brand new 70 compound tyres later on in the Grand Prix. Hunted him down. Here comes Milan then up the inside in towards turn 4, and he should get his move done with the better tyres unless Stefan tries to go around the outside, but of course he has to yield because Milan has the bragging rights and the better tyres and puts himself into P6 there, so hasn't lost touch towards Kevin Zumberg. They've caught up to Robbie Jacobs as well on the mini compound tyres. They pitted quite early in this race. Oh, I thought it's right. Yeah, I was so confused because I didn't see Robbie start on the mini compound tyre, on the hard compound tyre. So Ryan's doing the 2-stop strategy: hard, medium, hard. Well, that's a interesting strategy there. I'm not quite sure if it pays dividends not in the Grand Prix or not. I'm not quite sure, but we'll see then if it does or not. 13 laps left to go in the Grand Prix. Safety car will be doable for him right now, but a 2-stop is a bit too costly around the circuit here, so he might not get the time back either. I wonder how long Misha is stretching this for. Lap 18, 19 is where you're on the pits after the ideal grip towards the end of the Grand Prix as Kevin Zumberg puts pressure on Robbie Jacobs as well as we head down in towards the final corner. Hattikas gets a second at type penalty as they're all behind the McLaren driver then. Put the pressure on as the DRS is wide open for both cars as the McLaren is just in front of us here. We go side by side between the two. Robbie doesn't seem like he's putting much of defence as we head down in towards turn 1 there as this hits the back of the Aston Martin, but nothing too serious there, just a little nub tap, and that was it. But Robbie Jacobs there seems to be struggling as well. Massive hesitation going towards 3 and 4. You can see the car wasn't really planned till the exit there. Massive wheel spin, 2 for good measure. Kevin up the inside, in towards turn 4 he goes and puts himself into P3. But the gap between him and his teammates is 6.6 seconds. That's a huge ask as well. Yes, 3 laps does make a little bit of a difference, but not too much. But I think Lewis Jones then could be destined to win this Grand Prix after some fantastic pace as well. Misha, however, don't discount him out because he could be quick on those mini compound tyres towards the end though, but how long is he willing to stay out there? As we head down towards 9 and 10, you can see the clouds as well, just distracting the driver's preferential vision as well. It's all about instinct. But you can see the super clouds of Haitikas and Milan going through as well. Haitikas is a sitting duck on the straight. Nothing he could do about that one. As Milan and Robbie Jacobs put themselves into P4 and P5. But we know Robbie is essentially out of the equation because he's on a medium hard strategy. So expect him to stand for the pit lane soon. I'm quite sure where that strategy's come from for Robbie Jacobs there. But it's not going to work out unless there's a safety car right now. As Misha is in the pit lane then to put on a mini compound tyre. And he should comfortably take them towards the Grand Prix. The question is, though, can he catch Lewis Jones with about 11 laps left to go in the Grand Prix? And in comes the pit lane, and that's hard to catch for his first stop too, as Milan has been released up into P3 now, as there comes the Red Bull driver crawling down the straight on his brand new 70 compound tyres there, and the chase is really truly on. What can Misha do? Can he get towards P2, P3? I think the chance of a podium is definitely on for him. But we'll see then how quick he can be on these mini compound tyres. Then we'll have to compare lap times between every single driver to see what they're doing. So far it's Aston Martin 1-2 between Lewis Jones and also Kevin Zumberg in first and second there. Great job for both Aston Martins, but one of them does have a penalty and one of them could be in the danger zone of getting knocked out at the podium too, because Misha is on the new set of mini compound tyres. His first target to hunt down is Mike in P5, yeah, Mike in P5. Could be confused there, but there he is then, Mike, who didn't really have a good qualifying standard, started down in 11th place. He's up into 5th right now, running a solid race for Mercedes, kept his nose clean, and so did Fireblaze too, has kept his nose clean. Sorry about that, a bit of a voice break there. But this is the first race of the season, so try to shake off some cobwebs. But so far, the first race of the season is heading towards Aston Martin's way, with Lewis Jones and Kevin Zumberg first and a second so far, but Milan might split the pair of them. And you never know if Kevin Zumberg could be pushed off the podium with Misha in P6. There's Misha right behind Mike and Fireplay, so it's very important for him now not to get caught up in this battle. He needs to dispatch these two. If he's stuck there, then that's it for him. So he needs to get past these two quickly as well, while he has the best tyre life as one of the mini compound tyres. Needs to try to find a way through on Mike as we have the DRS headed down towards the long main straight. But you can see Misha's a bit too far behind as well. He will have the tyre difference, so hopefully for his sake he gets better traction out of turn 1 and turn 2, try and get himself closer towards the Mercedes and the Alpine driver. He can't afford to spend too many laps sitting behind those two. Maybe just try and save the battery for one lap and then deploy it for one lap and try and get past them. I know a lot of people as well struggling on this game in terms of ERS management, so that could be also another factor as well in this Grand Prix, trying to save the battery as well. Milan has dropped away from Kevin. The gap is 1.5 seconds then, so Kevin's checked out in second place there. Where's Misha? Obviously Misha's still in P6 then, so can Kevin build a 3-second gap over Milan? And here comes Misha up the inside, in towards under 10, outbreaks himself, and through goes Mike once again with the DRS enabled. That's the last thing that Misha needed. It just needed to be a clean move down the inside, but unfortunately outbroke himself and he's cost himself even more time. The more these guys defend, or the more Misha makes mistakes, the better for the likes of Milan and Kevin Zumberg as well, as Kevin Zumberg has that penalty. I expected Misha to be on the back of these and dispatched no quickly, but he seems to be struck behind this pair, and that's never a good sign, is it, when you're new tyres against people on older tyres either. So let's see where Misha can strike. The problem is that Mike has got DRS in front of him on Fireblaze, as they're both carrying the same speed down the straight. You would have thought so. Not much changes in the setup there. Here we go then, both have a DRS as we head onto the main straight. We go. Misha this time goes on the inside as we head down towards turn 1. Is this a clean move? Let's see then, as Mike's still there on the outside. It's super close between those two there. Mike has... Oh, he's going to get... What the hell is that? Oh my goodness me, what the hell is that? Not what we want to see there as we head down towards turn 4. Bit of wheel banging there between those two as Misha gets up into P5. Was Mike just panicking a little bit as well, fearing of spinning out, as Eric has retired in the race in the pit lane and he's left the session in rage as well, so not good opening first race. Oh, Kevin Zumberg again gets a 3-second time penalty. That's 6 seconds now. He still keep P4 by the way, but it all depends how can Misha get past him now. One more target in front of us, which is Fireblaze. The next one is Milan and Kevin Zumberg, and Misha, all he has to do is bring that gap under 6 seconds now. As there's a caution in the first sector, that's because of Eric's retired car there coming back out on the circuit. Heartbreak for the guys behind as well, who had their own misfortunes in the Grand Prix. There is 9 laps left to go in this race, and so far Lewis Jones holds a 6-second advantage as he pits. Wow, Lewis Jones has pitted. Is this a set of the mini compound tyres, and is it worth it to go on a new mini compound tyre? Let's have a look right now. But let's see then. It is a new medium. Is it a 2-stop around here, or is it a 1-stop? This is going to get interesting now, because I thought it was a 1-stop, but few people seem to have different ideas in mind. Look at this, in towards turn 1, there's contact between Misha and Fireblaze, in towards the first corner there. Neither driver will just give it an inch, and now Fireblaze has to concede the place as Misha is up into P3 there. And in the background, that is Lewis Jones, staying ahead of Timmy Boy, which is very crucial for him. So now it's the other way around. The chase is on between Milan and Lewis Jones. The gap to leader, let's have a look right now to see what it is. 15.4, 14.2 between Milan and Lewis. Oh, Lewis Jones now gets a 3-second title. So that could be a huge dent later on in the Grand Prix. But I'm quite surprised about the strategy call as well, to go on the hardcore power tyres at this stage of the Grand Prix with 10 laps left to go. It's not the first time I've seen it, but it goes a bit deeper towards turn 8 and loses traction as well. But yeah, not the first time I've seen it before. It happened in other games where people usually pit around this time as well. I remember it as well, clear as day. I wonder if people are starting to have a few tyre concerns as well. Bear in mind though, Lewis Jones did pit quite early to get himself out of that DRS range, and now he's pitting for a second time in this race on the mini compound tyres. And let's see then what he could do in P5. Gap's 14.6, surely not going to catch up towards Milan and Kevin Zumberg, surely not. They're coming towards the finish line right now to start off lap 22, and this is Lewis Jones heading down towards the back straight. So will Lewis Jones live to regret that by pitting onto another set of mini compound tyres? I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure how dramatic the tyre drop off as well is between the guys on the mediums and the hards. As I see the gap to leader, it is 14.4, so Lewis Jones not really taking a huge amount of time as you expect on the likes of Milan and Kevin as well. What about Misha? The gap is 7.4, so Misha spent a long time behind Fireblaze and Mike as well, who's rejoined into P11 on a brand new set of mini compound tyres. Spent a long time behind him, lost a bit of time as well for good measure, and now he's 7.7 seconds behind then, so he might be in a bit of no man's land in P3 right there. Maybe have to watch out for the likes of Lewis Jones, because Misha hasn't got that gap down to under 6 seconds, because Kevin's got a 6-second time penalty, Misha doesn't, and he needs that gap under 6 seconds to try and secure himself a podium, because Lewis Jones is on the hunt. He's not too far behind, although he does have a 3-second time penalty as well. So Misha could be in a little bit of trouble as well. Milan Langer could be the one to win the Bahrain Grand Prix, but there's still plenty of laps left to go in the Grand Prix still, so don't go anywhere. Milan Langer's last win, I think, was at the Italian Grand Prix last season. I think he's one of the drivers that's got the most wins here in JSR as well. So what an amazing achievement there for Milan Langer. Trying to look and extend that margin. If Milan's going to win this race, he'll be a 28-time race winner. Can you believe it as well? 28-time race winner here in JSR. He's got the most wins out of anybody. Oops, sorry about that. I usually do pay attention, so my bad. Stevan in the battle with Robbie and Khatikas. There we go then. I do pay attention. It's just that I was looking for results. As Milan then trying to get himself in DRS range. Here comes Stefan right behind Robbie as we head down towards turn 1. Side by side between the two as they both go on. They both break later than the other, but Robbie Yacob stays ahead of Stefan for the time being. Khatikas is under massive pressure from both guys behind as well as we head up towards turn 4. You know what? We've not even talked about the Canadian Grand Prix, have we, at all in this Grand Prix, because there's been actually packed loads of things going on, different strategies that's been placed around the field as well, and I mean, due to see how it all end up towards the end of the Grand Prix. But yes, the Canadian Grand Prix won by George Russell, of course, after he took pole and Stefan goes off the track in towards 8 there, or turn 7. Took pole ahead of Verstappen and Piastri, but Antonelli, his first podium of the season as Fireblaze has been overtaken as he puts himself up into P4 now, does Lewis Jones. So the gap is 5.5 if you include the penalty between Misha and Lewis Jones. Is it doable at this? I don't know actually. Could be nip and tuck between those two, but Lewis Jones, once he overtakes Misha, he needs to break him out of DRS range, because if he doesn't, and if Misha stays there, that could be game over for Lewis Jones' chance of a podium. But that's a very interesting strategy call to go from the, I think it was medium, hard, medium, back of the mini compound tyres now. 2 sets if you have the balance choice. As Milan Langer does get himself a DRS range there of Kevin Zumberg, as Lewis says the fast lap of the race in there, as you expect as well, the mini compound tyres. There's the battle for the top 2 then, Kevin and Milan, who have been glued together for the whole race, but one of them has the upper hand, the other one with a massive disadvantage. But I think Kevin could still get a podium here as well, despite that 6-second penalty, because Misha has lost a bit of time. So Misha is not gaining on Milan or Kevin then. So maybe you have to watch out behind from Lewis Jones as well. I thought Misha would rise to the hunt as well, but the strategy from Haas Media hasn't really paid dividends for him so far in this race. Not really made the inroads because he was in that DRS fight, wasn't he, in the first stage of the Grand Prix until these guys pitted to go on hard compound tyres, then he was left alone. But yeah, it's not really worked out for Misha so far, hasn't really gained a lot of time in the top 2. And Lewis Jones is closing an inch by inch as well. He's just in DRS range there of Misha. But can Misha get that gap under 3 seconds when he does overtake it? Can Misha stay in the DRS? Because it's not over yet for the Red Bull driver. He could still have a say in the podium for the final spot on the podium between those two. As long as he doesn't pick up any 3-second penalty, he should be fine and dandy. So let's see then if Misha can stick in the DRS range when Lewis Jones overtakes. Not a question of if, it's a question of when. Depends when he can do it, but there's 5 laps left to go, so doesn't want to leave it too long. But I dare say then that Lewis Jones will not catch up towards the top 2. It's sealed in Milan's hands right now for the Dutchman driver. And here comes the Aston Martin of Lewis as he pulls out to the right side, as he puts himself now up into P3. But now his main goal is to bring out a 3-second gap over Misha. If he wants a podium after his hard work in the first stint, gaining 10th place to start the Grand Prix from 19th to 9th on the first lap in 2 sectors. And he pitted a second time on a set of mini compound tyres as well, for good measure, and that's probably cost him this Grand Prix. Did he feel like the hard compound tyres wouldn't go towards the end? Did he feel like the mini compound tyres have a huge offset towards the hard compound tyres, have much better grip towards the end of the Grand Prix and catch a milestone? But doesn't seem to be the answer so far, as Misha is sticking in DRS range of Lewis Jones there, so not leaving him out of sight just yet is Misha. As long as Misha can get under that 1-second gap, might be a bit difficult corners though, because obviously the tyre grip as well in the braking zone, in the high-speed, mid-speed corners. Lewis Jones can roll the car in, or Misha might be struggling a bit for the extra grip in those low-speed, high-speed corners and towards the heavy braking zone, because the gap is 9/10 of a second already between P3 and P4, between Misha and Lewis Jones there, and he is out of DRS range now. So Misha, unfortunately, for his sake, could not get himself within that 1-second range of DRS and try and hold on to the back of him for the last 4 laps of the Grand Prix to get himself a podium. So now Lewis Jones has been released. He's up into P3. Can he bring the gap down towards Kevin? I don't think he can. I was thinking about penalties, but of course Kevin has got a penalty and Lewis Jones has as well. What I'm going to say is, can Lewis Jones bring that gap over 3 seconds? And this is the penalty situation for you guys here as well. Kevin Zumberg, our leader, has picked up a 6-second penalty, so he has no chance of winning unless something dramatic happens behind him. Unless Milan all of a sudden gets himself in a bit of bother. But this is Milan's race to win. I don't think there's no pressure from behind, especially with Lewis Jones getting that 3-second penalty. So Milan should have risked too much there. Heiter versus Robbie Jacobs as we climb towards the hill towards 3 and 4 with the DRS on the back of the RB, as Robbie Jacobs switches very late there to go on the inside towards turn 4, forcing the McLaren to go all the way on the outside, but nothing doing there for the McLaren driver so far. These guys have been in the scrap of their own during this course of this Grand Prix. However, there's been no safety cars or virtuals just yet in this race, and I don't think there's time for one. This race has absolutely flown by so far, and we did see a few gaps, and I dare say Mike and Fireblaze broke the DRS gap on the first open lap of the Grand Prix, as in the background goes wider for Origin. That's Stefan, who goes out wide in towards turn 9 and turn 10 as he rejoins on the circuit there. But yes, that DRS got broken there. Mike and Fireblaze might be discussing why they decided to fight so hard. We might compromise themselves as well, because Fireblaze is lonely in P5 as Mike is down into P11. Not quite sure what happens to Mike as well. Yeah, he did that 2-stop strategy. That's what happened to him. Misha, though, struggling to get under 3 seconds there. The gap is 2.6, so Lewis Jones with his mighty pace might be, after all, on course for a podium as well here at the Belgian Grand Prix, the Bahrain Grand Prix, sorry. It could be a double Aston Martin podium like it was in 2020 when Sergio Perez took the victory after he got spun round in towards turn 4 by Charles Leclerc, and Max Verstappen was out of the race too. Perez went from last to first and he won his first ever race after 190 races waited for Sergio Perez as we head down in towards turn one. We go between these two, Robbie Jacobs versus Timmy Boy. Timmy Boy, we haven't really mentioned much of him so far, but doing a solid job in P7s for the time being, and there's a spinner as well. I think it might be Nick slowing down in our last sector there. Here we go with the McLaren Hatikas, but he's not going to go for the move just yet. And the gap is over 3 seconds then. Misha has no pace or no response in comparison towards Lewis Jones. Lewis Jones, we're thinking back at that, thinking, why did I go for the pit stop? Was it necessary? Did I feel like the tyres were going to go towards the end of the Grand Prix? Did I feel like the 2-stop was better? But hindsight's a wonderful thing. In the moment, though, you made the choice, and you just hope it works for you. Nonetheless, though, some formidable pace from the man that started down in last place, got disqualified in qualifying to give him a challenge, as Bobby Nick has retired from the race. But yeah, Esteban Ocon also got the podium as well for the first time, and Lawrence Stroll finished in P3 as well. After Mercedes had a mental breakdown in the pit lane there, mixed up the tyres between Bottas's and Russell's, because remember Hamilton had COVID heading towards the Bahrain Grand Prix. Jack Aitken took over for Williams, and he broke his front wing, didn't he? Did Jack Aitken. Then it left Sergio Perez to overtake his teammate and Esteban Ocon to win the Grand Prix after starting out in last as well. What a drive as well, because that secured him a Red Bull seat. But Perez, of course, no longer in the sport in F1. But talks about him going to Cadillac could be rumoured. I'm not quite sure, because I think Perez is still a decent driver. Yes, you may say, well, look at Red Bull, but yeah, look at Red Bull in general, if that makes sense. You can't really judge it from that, but I think he's done a good job in the Red Bull when he needed to be there. And look at this then, argy-bargy between these two as the Ferrari just swoops around the outside, goes through and says, thank you very much, mate, I'll take you both on and have the DRS for good measure to stay ahead of both of you, unless I try and go back down the inside. Not enough space there between these two. Hatikas has to slam on the brakes there, but I don't think there was no room down the inside, unfortunately, between the guys up there. Then in 2022, of course, we saw Leclerc versus Verstappen, when I think Verstappen tried to get him down the inside 3 times, but failed, and Leclerc went on to win, because both Red Bulls were tired from the race as well with engine problems, and Verstappen and Perez were forced out, and it was Ferrari 1-2 when the Ferrari fans had hope in the world that 2022 would be their year. And boy, were they wrong. Were I wrong as well? I was terribly wrong. So the gap is 4.5 as Milan now takes the lead of the Grand Prix as we head down towards turn 1. I think Kevin Sundberg, his main target now is to stay on the podium. He can't afford to scrap with, I dare say, Milan Langer too much, but Misha is nowhere to be seen on the mini-compound tyres as a Ferrari / a Hood who's going for a spin down there. Quite, oh no, it's not. I was about to say, quite an odd place to spin. But his tyres have got a puncher. He's got a puncher on the left rear tyre. We have seen 2 people. It always going to be joined to pass the Haas. And the Haas there, Torpe, has been scooped up and collected. But Hatikas has been dropped into P9 as well. Haas has been overtaken by the Mercedes driver. He always got the best management as well. Look at the tyres. They seem like they want to go off the cliff any moment as well. These mini-compound tyres are not surviving as well to the full length of the Grand Prix, as you expect. Can Hatikas survive as well, because he's on level up on mini-compound tyre. It's so tentative to drive as well. Look at that. You can feel there's no grip on board with that McLaren, but luckily for him, there is 1 lap left. This is the final lap of the race as well for Hatikas to bring it home after struggling potentially with the puncher as well, and Misha as well. People on the mini-compound tyres, you can see the tyres are starting to give up the ghost. But here we go, it's the last lap of the Grand Prix, I didn't even notice. But here we go towards the final corner. Milan Langer, what a fantastic drive from the Dutchman. As the Dutchman will come across the final corner, as he sees the checker flag first, it is Milan who takes his 28th win here at the Bahrain Grand Prix, here in Bahrain. What a fantastic race as Lewis Jones rides off a double Aston Martin podium. Misha will come across the line to finish in P4. The ultra strategy not working out for him at all. Fireblades and Robbie Jacobs 5th and 6th. As Stefan as well, defending from Mark behind. Where's Hatikas is further down in the background. No safety cars either, but these guys just surviving on their worn out mini-compound tyres. Here we go then, Stefan. The penalties will sort themselves out. Robbie Jacobs is the first one to cross the line into P6. Bit disappointing race there for Robbie Jacobs. A bit of no man's land there, it must be said. And there is the classifications for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Milan, 28th win here in JSR. 5 more wins than his rival Venjoke, the 7-time champion. But what a stunning clinical drive for Milan Langer as well. Amazing. and he takes his 51st podium of the season as well, 51st podium in his career as well. So not a bad start there for Milan Langer. A delighted Dutchman since his last win at the Italian Grand Prix last season. Milan is back on top for the first race of the season, and could this kick off now? Hopefully to be excited for exciting championship here in JSR. That's it then. I'm not quite sure what's going on. Sash Hood is the last one to cross the line down the P14. Is he going to go for the fast lap of the Grand Prix? Let's have a look right now. No, he's not. He's way too far behind for that one. But yes, the first race of the season is done and dusted then. And yeah, Kevin Zumberg not happy about the penalty situation, but penalties sometimes can be brutal around here as well. The Dutchman with his long hair celebrating on top. He can be very happy with the two Aston Martin boys alongside him as well. Kevin Zumberg is for the Dutchman, Lewis Jones, the Brit, in third place. As the celebrations go off then, as is McLaren then on top ahead of the two Aston Martins. Look at that. Driver of the day for me, Lewis Jones from 19th to 3rd. There's no brain about it, of course. But there it is then. Misha didn't really catch up, did he? On the mini-compound tyres, just lost it during our second stint. Fireblades and Robbie Ackles 5th and 6th for Alpine, so not bad points considering where they started, although they did have a big scrap to Fireblades and Mike in the opening excursion of the Grand Prix, side by side, especially in the early laps of the Grand Prix as well, which didn't work, and they lost the DRS towards the top 4. There the rest of the classifications then. 19 drivers. Hopefully we get a full house next week, and the next week as well is at the Australia Grand Prix as well. So hopefully that should be an entertaining race, because there is 4 DRS zones around the circuit, 4 of them as well. And we see plenty of occasions where people play DRS chicken and people being forced into moves that they don't want to be forced into either. But we'll see how the Australian Grand Prix goes as well. A fast flowing circuit now, as the chicane and a few other parts of the racetrack has been modified as well to improve the racing of the Australian Grand Prix, which it has, admittedly, and I really do enjoy the layout as well. That is it then. I am your commentator for today, Jamie Morris, and hopefully you will enjoyed the stream. And it is Milan who wins on top of the Aston Martin boys as he kickstarts his championship aspirations in the McLaren. But very joke, did not race tonight, so let's see what he could do on his return. And it's going to be an interesting race as well. The Austrian Grand Prix, I think, in 2 weeks' time. I thought it was this weekend, but it's not. It's next weekend is the Austrian Grand Prix for Formula 1, where Russell took the victory as Verstappen and Norris collided there. But it is the Australian Grand Prix for JSR then, so we move on to the other side of the world, well, just further along the world there, to the continent of Australia, and we'll see then what happens there. Goodbye for now. I have been your commentator. Thank you for having me, and I'll see you all next week at the exact same time at 7 o'clock for JSR.